pity that accident.
Was this accident? Unfortunately. Well, on to less serious matters. The Mercedes-Benz just launched the new CKD E-Class, but more interestingly, they showcase or they previewed the E350e, which is the plug-in hybrid variant of the limo.
All these premium manufacturers seem to be wanting to offer a hybrid variant.
Yeah. And it's going to cost less than 400,000.
I think it's good, but personally, people up in that bracket when you're buying at cars, I'm wondering, do they need lower price because they can afford to buy a car? But I guess everybody wants to save money, whether they're rich or
That's
not
how you
so
stay
rich. Right? But I like hybrids personally. I like hybrids. I don't know. What about Evo?
Yes,
How
what do you think,
view
Bobby?
hybrids? There's some very powerful hybrids. Porsche.
Yeah, the
has-
Panamera.
It's hybrid. I mean, now, right? We remember one time our government has like whether your car is hybrid or not, and then you get that tax advantage, right? To me, that's like maybe 10 or 15 years ago or 20 years ago. Is your car direct fuel injection? Or 20 years, 25 years ago.
Okay.
Oh, your car is fuel injection. Okay, you get special tax incentive.
No,
Because
there's never been such a
It
thing.
has never been like that. It's just that the term was so new for them that, oh, this is canggih. But it's a norm. Cars, every decade you have new technology.
Yeah.
And actually, if you're talking about hybrid, right, it's the assistance from the battery power and all that, right? Where be it to power the car or power your aircon. We have hybrids long time already, right? Cars that have brake energy recuperation.
Yeah.
They charge back your car. Then your car has stop. You stop your car, and then that is some form of
Well,
hybridization to me.
the hybrid as we know it, I mean, the hybrid powertrain
Electric
as we know
motor.
it started 1997, 1998 when
Yeah,
Toyota
Prius.
came out with their first Prius. So that's
Isn't
the
that
idea.
the inside?
No,
inside?
Toyota Prius was the first. Inside was shortly after that.
Okay.
Okay. But I mean that's how they look at a hybrid, and today it's gone on to a bit more sophisticated stuff, plug-in hybrid and all, which is pretty good. But for a guy like you who doesn't care about fuel saving, I guess you don't really care about
I
hybrids.
care
right?
about fuel saving. I mean, I don't care about fuel prices. The thing is this, I think that all this technology will be there. When every car on the road has some form of battery to conserve wasted energy and to be used later on, right? Every car is a hybrid. It will be like that moving on because it's a very logical thing to do to save the energy that you harvest back when you brake and all that, and you can charge them. And then you have an alternative source of power because when it's charged, you can the electric power can be drawn from a coal mine or it can be drawn from wind power or something like that, right? So I think all cars will be hybrids later on. So it's just logical. That's to my opinion.
One thing that I'm still trying to understand is when we use a petrol engine, we pay for petrol. We have to buy petrol. Right now, generally people who own hybrids and electric cars, they just plug in, and the cost of that form of energy is still not affecting their lives yet. It's free. You know, you're getting free electricity when you go and plug in anywhere, right? I think
The charge EV card, you have
the
to
charge
pay for
EV
it
card
actually.
now you have to pay.
It's
But
120 a month.
generally for a lot of people, it's still free because you just plug in. You don't feel the effect of having to pay for that energy.
Yeah, you don't see it yet, right?
Yeah.
It
know, like-
removes the touch point.
You buy petrol, you see, think you are more aware of how much you're spending. I don't know when that is going to change when people start to maybe charge EV is the beginning where people become aware of the cost of energy.
But it's inevitable, right? Electric
Electrification
powered
is
cars,
gonna come.
it's inevitable. It's like, can you imagine a gasoline powered shaver?
Are you sad that one day there will be no more
Supercars for Evo.
gasoline
Yeah,
powered?
I'll be sad because whenever you hear a nice V8 engine, right?
Yeah, nothing beats
V12,
that.
like the Mercedes, all the high revving V10, V12 and all that, right? To think that they will be gone one day, it will be sad. But I think now, when you look at technology progress, right, I believe it will come back to liquid powered,
Petrol.
internal combustion engine will move on rather than battery. We have battery now. It's a very primitive technology. The technology barrier is like there. There's very low power energy density. You have to carry your own weight. for battery, right?
yeah.
When you run out of juice, you are still carrying your own
Yeah,
weight. There's
yeah.
a lot of dead weight.
Yeah.
And batteries have a very low lifespan.
Yeah,
right?
probably a
But
few
now you
thousand
look at all
cycles.
the new technology coming out. They use microorganisms to produce gasoline, some form of gasoline that is combustible. That means it's a form of it has very high energy density. I believe when that comes back, right, we will still have internal combustion engine because liquid form has the highest energy density, and it doesn't need to carry its own weight. That means when you finish your petrol, it's gone. It's gone. And for transportation and everything, we already have the infrastructure. It's just someone investing, like Elon Musk now, he invests in a gigafactory on batteries.
Yeah.
But if someone look at all this microbiologism, whatever it's called, I mean, we've all seen those reports, right? That they're able to organically harvest and farm petroleum.
Well, that's still way in the future.
Yeah,
Way-
and that's
more-
going a little off
Yeah,
tangent.
I think it will come back one day.
Yeah,
to me,
yeah, yeah.
at least.
Okay,
Yes.
but my question to the both of you is, you are a fan of hybrid cars, we know
Yeah.
that, but how sustainable is it in the long run? What is the cost of ownership? Ownership is like, do you actually save more money running on hybrid cars in say 5 to 7 years, as opposed to a regular guy with a much more like a Mazda Skyactiv fuel efficient engine? So
That's a very good question, and the originally without the incentives, without the low price of hybrids, it didn't make sense. It makes a bit more sense now, as hybrid models cost less.
Only in Malaysia because of taxation.
Yeah. Actually, Malaysia is a unique situation where
Distorted.
a hybrid variant costs less. The Honda people were very puzzled, like when the Jazz hybrid came out, they said it's only in Malaysia that
it's cheaper
the
than
hybrid variant is cheaper than the conventional
Yeah.
variant.
Yeah.
Whereas in Japan, the Jazz hybrid is the
Yeah.
top of the range one,
Yeah,
right?
but hybrid makes a lot of sense, and I think in the long term you can save on fuel. It's logical because some of the time you run without burning any fuel at all, and I really like using a hybrid when I'm in a car park,
Yeah.
going around and around searching for space.
Yeah.
And it switches into just running on electric motor, and I feel, hey, this is really great. I'm not burning any fuel. But that is the main reason why people would buy a hybrid. The thing that the manufacturers, and I remember a Honda guy saying to me, please tell your readers to buy our hybrid because it's good for the environment, save the planet. And I told him, I said, Malaysians unfortunately don't care about
Exactly.
Yeah, and they are not nowhere near that yet.
They buy it because it's cheap. At that time, the hybrids were duty free. They buy it because they believe that they can save money on fuel. But if you tell them to buy or even pay extra for a vehicle that will protect the environment, they'll say, I need to put food on my table for my family. I think the priorities about saving the planet is not so important to me.
But if you buy a Jazz hybrid, how much was it then with the tax exemption?
90 something, I think.
90 something, right? If we don't, do we still see a lot of them running around? And I guess the point that I'm trying to make here is, if you are earning in that bracket and you choose to go with a Jazz hybrid, right? How long will cars serve you as far as battery powered cars go? You say batteries have a certain lifespan. Batteries don't go well with heat, and in Malaysia it's very temperate, very humid. A lot of people would question, can they really last long? Can they last as long as conventional
That's the
internal
thing.
combustion engine cars?
In European countries, Japanese Europeans, they have this civic mindset that they have this very conscious mindset that they need to protect the environment. First thing, that's when hybrids come out. That's how people started buying hybrid and using them. And on top of that, they have a very good recycling.
Yeah, to okay.
It's
Recycle the batteries.
Yes, everything is there. And a lot of Malaysians say that, oh, my battery won't last 7 years, 8 years, blah blah. But they change their cars every 4 years, 5 years. So if we have a healthy system to dispose of
the batteries,
old cars, new cars, and all that, right? Then I don't see it as a problem. And I believe the combination of engineers in these car companies, right? They're smarter than us. They worry that before we do, I guess.
Battery technology is constantly improving. constantly advancing. And yes, a few years ago there was the issue that the battery cannot last, and people were complaining to manufacturers. It's getting better and better every year, and new technology is coming in from. I mean, even our phones. Remember the old days when you were selling handphones? What nickel? What was the first?
Nickel metal hydride.
No, before nickel metal hydride,
Nickel
there was another
cadmium?
one. Nickel cadmium.
Yep,
you
yep,
know,
yep.
memory effect and all that.
Yeah.
And you got to discharge it. That was a real pain. And then nickel metal hydride. Today we have lithium ion. So it's all the time it's
Improving.
and it's getting better. In Malaysia, the manufacturers have to give a 8-year warranty for the battery alone because people don't have the confidence. And you are right, that is a concern to consumers here. But I think in other countries, like you say, they accept it.
Yeah.
And you have a good point there. A lot of people change their cars after 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So what's the question about battery? I think the question for them is it affects their resale value because the next guy who buys it will say, hey, the battery going to die already, 5 years old. I'm going to have to spend a lot of money to replace it.
But now they don't need to worry about this because the whole used car market value just crashed.
Yeah.
The past 2 years
so many of my used car dealer friends have closed down because of the competitively priced new cars, right?
Yeah.
And generally across the board, hybrid cars tend to hold their value a little less. Their resale value is not very good, right, compared to their ICE and only counterparts.
But then
I think that's perception.
Original batch of hybrids, I think the owners don't want to sell off because they just can't get a better price than what they paid. A lot of people are trying to make a fast buck.
I think it's a point where Malaysians have traditionally enjoyed ridiculously high resale value for our cars. I think now that our prices has been like the equilibrium is more logical now. The used cars value will just tank like every other market in the world. Our used cars depreciate so little over so many years. You know, you be like you buy a car at 150,000. After 5 years, you can sell it at 90. Technically, that car only costs you 60K. So I think I wrote something like that last time. We are one of the cheapest countries to buy cars because you look at our resale value.
I think that comes because our used car industry is not regulated. It's a very
free for all kind of thing.
Free for all, you know. The prices, I've had, you know, people in foreign car companies coming to me asking, is there any established guidelines on valuation of cars? And I say, no, you know, each dealer just values it their own way. So it's very hard for them to turn it into a business.
I was shocked when I asked the banks. I asked them how you get your value. We look at Motor Trader, Car List, Mudah.
And they base it on that.
Yes. Yes. They might have third-party suppliers, but the third party refers to these 3 sites. And that's the market value.
Oh no.
Yeah. That's how
the thing about that is that those are asking prices. You don't know actually what the transaction price is. It could be much lower, but that's what. So somebody, you know, simply puts in he wants 50,000. Actually, maybe it was sold for 30,000. But people who refer and use these guides, you know, for valuation, they imagine it's higher.
Difficult times.
No, they just have to. It's an adjustment period. Malaysians just need to mentally adjust. Oh, now I cannot sell at that price anymore. They accept it, and then that's why there's now a lot of all those, you know, a lot of old people will be like, I'm not referring to you. No, people who don't accept. They will say that, what's that? Is that a leasing program? You know? That's renting a car, you know, but they don't realize that when you buy and sell your car every 4 or 5 years, you're technically renting from someone else. It's the same thing. And I love this kind of program, you know, because your car is 200,000, you'll be selling 100K anyway after 5 years. They take away the first 100K, you only pay installment for the initial 100K. That's so logical, and that's what Europeans and Americans are doing.
The other day I read one article, GM was trying out an idea, subscription concept of owning cars.
Serious?
What do you think of it? You subscribe and say after 1 year you don't like it, you
just return it?
Return the car, or return the car and then you subscribe to a new car.
Yes, I think that's how they term it, right? They call it subscription.
No, it's a new concept. It's not leasing or anything. It's actually, they say it's a new concept.
Like you sign up and then...
Like subscribing to Astro or whatever. And
Wow.
I
That's
never heard of
assuming you don't damage the car, lah. Right?
Right.
As insurance, I mean, insurance industry and all that sort of come into it. Next time we meet, we must talk about insurance. That's a very interesting subject.
Oh yeah, with the new it's coming into play soon, right? Yeah, deregulation. I guess that sums up our topics for today. Thank you guys for being here. Really a pleasure to be having you guys here on board on our pilot episode. So till next time.
Yeah.
I don't think they're asking us back.
No.